Hi guys, it's Amy with Aim to Plan, and today I am here with one of my favorite videos every month, my monthly flip through. So I have it open like this right now just because it is so fantastically full. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of dive right in by talking to you about the setup. I do have 5 sections in here. It's going to be starting with work, then I'm flipping through personal, Sophia's memory book, Rose's memory book, and then my home section. And it's set up on a transformer planner with these covers and expanded metal discs. If you want more details for like what's in here, you can certainly watch the setup video. I have posted my February setup, which is very similar to my January setup, and so that those videos walk into more detail with like what's happening in terms of like what's inside here. But I'm just going to do the flip through, and again I have to have it open just because like it is so full in here. And so what I'm going to do is flip through these pages for January. I did actually decorate most of them, which, you know, yay me. Normally this is like a very functional like pen to paper kind of flip through, which I love still doing. But this time around I did decorate most of these spreads, so that's kind of fun. So this first section is my work section. I am using a planner that was quill bound, but I cut down for discs, and I haven't done anything with these front pages yet. The only thing I've done here is right here. Actually haven't finished for January. I need to go back and kind of do this, but I've been actually trying to keep track of how many emails I send. And so I have split them up into like emails related to teaching, emails related to advising, and then emails just related to like administrative type stuff. And then right here, I have a marking for like how often I access my like online reading program for my classes. And so I'm just going through and kind of keeping track of some of those things on here. I just thought it would be something interesting to keep track of. And so those are kind of set up for that. And then right here, this page, because it's attached to the back of the perpetual calendar, it's pretty much going to be in here the entire like year. And so I decided instead of using it as a January kind of review or like for January specifically, I'm going to use it for the entire year. So I went ahead and covered up the January, and then I'm here, I put order. Order is kind of like, if you want to call it like my one little word for the year, it's kind of that, but it's really just me trying to kind of stay organized with like, you know, like putting things into order with like all areas of my life. So I've decided to basically use this to track like my classes for each of the 3 semesters. So it'll be spring, summer, and fall. And that'll get me to the end of December. And then here's just like major like yearly goals. And so I've already started putting on here like the first major thing that I've got going on is like working on a big project with the QEP at our university. And so yeah, that's just kind of what I'm going to be using this page for. On the monthly, I keep track of work hours. I did go through and decorate these pages just to make it pretty. Normally it's not stickered up at all. It's just my work hours. And I just like to keep track of that just for fun, just for fun, really. And then this page, this is the 1st of January, which I wasn't working since that's New Year's Day. But I decided to go ahead and have all of January, including the 1st, even though it's literally just the one day. I decided to put it in here, and I just used up some random scrapbook paper and stickers in here just to kind of like, you know, put together a spread. I put the 10 Commandments here. I was at one point like considering combining like Bible faith studying with my work planner, but I decided to keep those 2 things separate. So that's kind of all here. Excuse me. Right, and so then here's January 2nd. I used some, I think, Agenda 52 stickers here. Super cute. Right, and then here, much plainer, but January 9th. We were very busy at work because advising was really happening. And then I didn't even fill out these habit trackers. Super plain. Right, and then this was obviously the week of the 16th. I decided again to just use up some of my stash. This was a picture that Sophia colored ages and ages ago, and you can see like obviously Minnie is incorrect in terms of coloring and things like that, but I was just like, you know, it's fine. It made me smile when I opened up my planner, so that's really all that I needed to do. And so it did fill it up and made it look a little bit like fuller. And then this is the last week here. And like just in case you don't know this, like I'm teaching several classes, but like I only have one face-to-face class, and so I'm not really having to go into the office quite as much as I normally do. But then I decided here I should probably add another sticker here, but like I went ahead and decided that this page, the one that's attached to the end of January, just so that way I can take the entire thing out and start with like the February divider, is to use this as like the end of January moving into February kind of like overview reflection page for the for the month of January going into February. So even though it says February, it's really like an end of January kind of reflection, or if you want to call it like an intention setting for moving into February. So I have kind of listed out and just journaled out some things here. I was going to do more journaling, but really I am done, honestly. January was a good month at work, so I just need to put a sticker here. So I'll probably do that. Probably just a big quote sticker, and call it a day. And so I'm set up for February in here. I actually went through and decorated pretty much all of it except for this currently page 2. So that's fun. You'll see that in like the flip through for February. And then this section, it says July, but I have in here, and I won't flip through it actually, but I have, this is like the random section of notes where I like jot out like my messy notes for like meetings and things like that. And so those are all stored back here. And I'm not flipping through that just because of their student names and things like that in that section. So that is my work section. And in order to get this set up, I'll flip it like that. All right, I'm just trying to make it like kind of even. I know you can't really tell on video, but like if I left it the way it was like this, I would just get super bulky. So anyway, the second section is my personal section. There are actually 4 subsections, or like 4 sections in here, and I did divide them with top tabs. That I did go ahead and label in my previous, or after my previous video. And so the very first one is my weekly dashboard layout. And this one is actually not decorated at all. I just put, well, I decorated a little bit here just because this was, again, the 1st of January. But the rest of it is not decorated. I just put pen to paper. This is where I actually plan out far in advance, like the tasks and events that I have. And so it's pretty much just like all of those events that I need to like track like way like months in advance. And so I flipped through that very quickly, but basically I'll pause here just because it's the last week of January. I put all events here, and then you can see I kind of like just go through. I actually need to like do some stamping here for some of these, but I basically just write them all down and then check mark it, or if I don't attend the event, I just cross it out. You can see here I just cross it out. And then on this side, it's of course like to-dos. So these 2 sections I basically use as to-dos, but sometimes I do try to split it up into like things I need to buy or want to buy, and then like any to-dos are in this like colored section portion. And then here are my social media things that I do, and then here is like just like budget stuff. And I don't write down every single expense that I have. It's basically just the expenses that are related to like my family. And so those go here. And then towards the end of the month, I didn't do this every single month, you can see, but like the last 2 weeks, was it 2 weeks? No, it must have been just the last week. I decided to start doing like some social media like tracking. It's mostly just to like focus on like how much I'm spending time on my phone. And so that's tracked here, and it says planner, and planner is obviously like my planner here, but I use my planner in conjunction with like digital planning. And so like this is like tracking like, again, screen time for how much I'm using my planner on the phone. So that's kind of the setup. Again, I didn't really decorate except for this very first week, but the rest of it, this was an outdated planner, outdated Supermom dashboard that I just kind of redated, and it had a lot of color, and I thought it was like perfect for this just because I'm not going to be decorating it really. All right, and so this is the week that we're in, and so that's kind of that, and you'll see that in the February flip through. All right, so I have the pages in here for February. I actually probably, once I start taking out pages, I probably want to put in some more pages because I'm, again, needing to like plan out a little bit further in advance. Like I had questions about something in March, and I'm like, I don't actually know the dates for March. So anyway, that is my weekly dashboard. And then right here, the section is labeled for daily, but I don't have any pages in here just because right now I'm using a big size planner, or letter size pages. And so I'm going to show you that. Let me zoom out a little bit. Hopefully that's zoomed out enough. All right, so this is my letter size planner. I've talked about in one of my previous videos, I wanted to change the setup here for what it is, but it's basically a random like happy planner cover and then discs, random discs that I had in my stash. But what I do, or what I have been using for January mostly, is going to be these tool letter size pages. They are a daily on 1 page, and these I did decorate. So mostly, I think there might have been 1 or 2 that I didn't decorate, but this is what it looks like. One of the things that I did try to do was try to convert it into like a 24-hour planner, and so I did like draw. It's very faint, but like I just kind of drew this line and did it to where, you know, I could get 24 hours, but that wasn't always necessary. So this was January 1st, and then I decided on January 1st to kind of like put in some like random like little bits and pieces, right? So that was something I kind of put together as a journaling card. And then one of the things I did do on the first is I like to try to do this either at the end of the month or the beginning of the month, is go through like my digital task list and clear out all like the old tasks that I'm not going to do. And so this is my list here. And then I did do this like the single time, but I was thinking about doing junk journaling for January. And so this was the one that I did for that. I really love this actually, so I might just pull this out, put it into like a micro and call it a day. But that was all for like the first. And then I decided to try to do a weekly. And so this is the weekly. It's set up, or like I did it very similarly where I was just kind of chronologically doing things, but this is like to me super messy. And so I did it for the entire week, the 2nd through the 8th, but then I said, no, let's go back to daily planning. Like there's a reason why I love daily planning. And so that's that. And then I have some notes because the 2nd through the 8th was like, you know, obviously on a weekly, there were lots of notes I wanted to take. And so these are all the notes from the 2nd through the 8th that I just kind of stuck in here. Right, and then here there are some like, these are like notes on like post-its, and then like some like financial documents that I'm saving, so those are all there. And then again, because I was doing that weekly, I didn't use these pages at all, and so yeah, like I didn't use those pages at all, but I did kind of like stick all these like random notes in here. So this was on the 6th, which is why I kind of put it here, but like I was kind of starting to set up some of my home binder notes, and actually this should move to the home binder section, but I was hoping to transfer it on like more like official paper. This is literally just like, you know, composition notebook paper. But I was sketching out some of those things. And here's what it kind of looks like without like all the writing on it. I was splitting it up so that way I could get like 6 to 6 here, and then like have like either use this or this to be 6 and 7, either 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. or 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. And then just kind of write 8 p.m. all the way through 5 in the morning or 6 in the morning. So anyway, hopefully that makes sense, but that I was just trying to get a 24-hour period in there. But that was the 2nd through the 8th, which was kind of messy. I should have just pulled out some of the pages I didn't use, but then I decided again just to go back to daily planning. So here's the daily page for that, and here's the 10th. These stickers came from that reusable sticker book, and so they're starting to pull up. So here's the 10th, here's the 11th, here's the 12th, which I didn't put any stickers on. And the way I use it is basically to track, of course, any big events that I have, but also, you know, like as I'm doing things, I will go ahead and just list them out like very bullet journal style, just around the same time as like the time. And so I didn't even put any to-do list type stuff here. And then the 13th is completely empty. I just basically put everything on the sticky note right here. And I think the same, well, not the same for the 14th, similar to the 13th. I just kind of started writing on these like random sheets, and again, no stickers. And so at this point, like right there was the 17th, I kind of was like, you know, this is not working out for me. There's something about like when I'm working, I just didn't really feel like I wanted to like focus or like have a daily page in addition to my work planner, in addition to my personal planner. So I did decide at that point to basically, well, I had this journaling page, like I had a really bad day at work personally, so that was stuck in there. And so here's some other stuff. I'm blurring this out. There is like some notes on a random sheet of paper. There's some stuff that I need to blur out right there. And then some more like of these like random sheets. Okay, and all of those notes right here, these things were all things that, because I had kind of given up already on like daily planning, I was just kind of charting it, jotting it down, or like writing it into my phone. And so I just decided to copy it out on paper once a couple of days had passed and I didn't feel so overwhelmed with it. So at this point somewhere, I decided to move it to where I was only doing daily pages on the weekends. And so there are several weeks, first of all, that I just skipped altogether. I just skipped it just because I was busy. But then right around here, I totally forgot to like put the pages back in here, but right around here is where I decided to move into like just doing it for the weekends. Like, and my weekends are Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, and Mondays. I did record a video kind of explaining this in more detail, so you can watch that video if you're interested. But here's the 27th, and this is Friday. Yes, Friday, right? And then here is Saturday. I did have a funeral, and yeah, I don't think there's anything I have to blur out, but basically this is the list of music that we had to have, and like the order, and like just some music notes for that. Right, and so the funeral was beautiful. By the way, I mean, the music was lovely. She was a founding member of a community choir that I am a part of. I've been a member of the group for like over a decade now. And so, just being able to sing for her was just beautiful. And so here is, I'm assuming this is Sunday. All right, so here's Sunday. All right, and then here is the 30th, which is Monday. And again, my weekends basically run Friday through Monday. So here's the last day, and then I didn't do it for the 31st. And I have enough pages in here to be able to do this basically for, if I did it every single day, all the way through the end of June. But now that I'm only doing it 4 days out of 7, only 4 out of 7 in a week, then I'm gonna have even more additional like extra unused pages that will just end up like when I clean this out, all the unused pages will just move into the back. So that is daily planning. At some point, if I move down to the classic size, those daily pages would live in this section, but that for right now is how my daily is set up, is in a separate system just because it is a big size. All right, so let's go back here then to my Transformer Frankenplanner, just to zoom in a little bit. And so that was the second section of my personal, so I went through weekly and daily. And then here, this third section is my food log. And so I decided towards the middle of the month, and I put in some extra pages that you could see didn't use, but towards the middle of the month, January 16th, I decided that I had a lot of notes related to like food logging and those types of things that I wanted to move into a separate thing, just because I like to, you can see here, take a lot of notes about what I'm eating, and putting this on my daily pages was fine, but it was just like really cluttered. And so I decided to move it here. And so this is what it looks like. I did again decorate it. And so here's the 29th, and those were the 2 weeks that I did in January. And I've already started moving into February with doing the same thing. So those pages are in here, ready to go. I cannot wait until I can pull out these January pages. It is making this thing so full. All right, so that was the third section, the food log. And then the fourth section here, I just decided to add this. I have been working through several Bible plans. There are 2 Bible plans that I'm doing on the Bible app, the YouVersion Bible app, and then there are 2 plans that my sisters and I are doing together. And so I have been just kind of like loosely listening to and taking notes related to it, but I decided to go ahead and go through and like, not like all the way from January 1 through, but like start to like journal out some of those things, right? So these are the journaling notes here. Now, I was raised Catholic, and so one of the things that my sisters and I have kind of talked about doing, and I'm not necessarily like super like, I don't know, like I'm listening just for the sake of like being connected to my family. And so there are 2 reading plans on the Hollow app that I'm listening to. They're both Catholic reading plans, or Catholic like scripture plans. And the first one is the Bible in a year, which I'm definitely like listening to that and taking notes, but or just listening to that. And then the other one is the Catechism in a year, and this is the one that basically talks about like how the Catholic faith is formed and what are some of the major doctrines of the Catholic faith. And I was raised Catholic, but I've since kind of moved out and am going to church with my husband, and we attend a Baptist church. And so this is really again just listening through it to be able to kind of like talk to my family about it, and just like understand how I grew up and like that kind of thing. So it's more so like, I mean, I hate to describe it this way since it's in this faith section, but it's not really for my spiritual development. It's more so for like the social relational development for me. I don't know if that's like gonna like offend anyone, but like I'm listening to it to like, connect with my family. And so I did print out all of this stuff. And like these are all the like components or like the reading plan that came or like was a download from the Ascension Press like person who like puts together those 2 like podcasts. And so they're podcasts, and because they're podcasts, I find like for me, reading something is like I can like retain information if I read it, but if I'm listening to something, it's a little bit harder for me. And so because of these 2 podcasts, one of the Bible reading plans that I'm doing on the Bible app is a Bible in the year. So I'm kind of repeating it. I'm doing it twice. And then this other one, this podcast with the Catechism, I don't really know a lot about it. So I decided to like, this is one of the ones like I just added like a couple of days ago. I decided to go through and just kind of like put out like the major outlines of the Catechism, and I'm just writing it out. So I copied out a couple of things that they're focusing on right now in the Catechism. And yeah, I'm just kind of like taking notes related to it. And not notes, it's literally like the outline of the catechism. So like all like the major headings of the catechism. And I'm just listening to it already. I'm finding some things where I do have like some major disagreements with it, like from a religious perspective, which is, you know, probably one of the reasons why I don't really identify myself as Catholic anymore. And so that is my personal section. I really feel like, even though I'm being challenged with these reading plans, I feel like it's been really good for me to listen to it. Because it is challenging, and it's one of those things where I'm able to listen and understand that, you know, these points of disagreement are one of the reasons why we have so many religious denominations, right? So not to get on a, like that kind of like philosophical bent, but all right, these next couple of sections will be a little bit quicker just because I'm not that caught up with my memory planning. And so for Sophia and for Rose in particular, I'll flip through what I have in here. The way I have to set up this Transformer planner is to basically put all the things that I need to work on in 2023 in here. For Rose, that goes far back and all the way into December 2022. And for Sophia, I have a Christmas section that I'm still working on for her. So she is in December 2022 as well. I haven't even created those sections for her, but her memory book itself, the planner itself, is up to date. And so what she has is basically this. I actually need to update this with a couple of other things, but right here is where I have, at least for January, been tracking kind of like the like stickers, like her rewards stickers for like chores and doing well in school and that kind of thing. And then also like, you know, when we take away stickers for bad behavior. And so those are all tracked here. And I've really enjoyed that. So I'm going to continue doing that in February, I think. Right. So that is what I've been using this currently page for. This is like, you know, obviously the back, or it should be the perpetual calendar. I just could not find it, but eventually if I find it, I'll put the hello page and the perpetual calendar type stuff in here for you know, just to complete her memory book. But this is January. So again, I still need to update. So this is like real life, like end of January, beginning of February flip. So I need to go ahead and update. And what I do is put a photo a day in here. And then what I do is let her decorate. Most weeks she has decorated, and most weeks she has written stuff in there. And so those are that. And then she decorates these again, like, and she writes things. And then of course I go back in and write. Now, one of the things I did decide to do was get rid of like traditional memory keeping. And so I had to actually write in more than I thought I would. And then when there's not enough room, I'll just put in like some additional pages. And so these are all her extra pages that she did. That I will just keep just like that in her memory book. And then here's the second page. Let me show you what it looks like together. That's what it looks like together. All right, and then here's the 9th through the 15th. And this is kind of where I stopped, right? So this is where we are. There's some notes in here that I want to like print out and put in here. And so this is this is the marker here, and it says past. This is the divider that I use to mark which week I'm currently working on in terms of taking notes and things like that. I have like written out some other notes, as you can see here, but there are some documents and papers and things like that that I need to kind of like put in between these weeks. So yeah. All right, and then this is the last week here. So I am like basically caught up with the notes and things like that, but I need to put in the pictures and things like that for her. So that is her memory book. And then also in here is her question and answer journal. And so that's this tab right here. And so her question and answer is where I print out these prompts, and I do have 365 prompts that I basically found on the internet. And starting in 2020 and then basically going until 2023, I ask her the question, and I'm able to see, you know, if I actually ask her the question, but like if I ask her the question, then I'm able to see year over year like her answers. And I have not been decorating this, but eventually, like once I'm starting to get towards the end of the planner here, but I will start going in and just kind of like putting in stickers in random spots and just kind of filling it in. But this is what it looks like for right now. It's just basically her answers to the questions. And I believe I didn't finish. I have a couple of answers that she's given me at the end of January, but I need to go in and fill that out. And yeah, I'll just kind of fill those things in, you know, before I like pull it off the discs and archive it. And so I have February in there for that. Okay, the next section is roses, and I'm gonna flip this just so it sits a little bit better. All right, and then in roses section, again, I'm like way more behind in roses, which I think I kind of implied earlier, but I'm using a Bright Jungles Classic Vertical. And so the beginning pages here, I did decide to use just to track like when she's going for like babysitting with my mom, like when my mom is taking care of her. So I'm just tracking her hours, and you can see how far behind I am. I've only done 3, and we've basically made it through all of January, and I haven't gone through and filled those times out. And then here it says September, but basically this is the tracker that I'm using for my niece. And so we've basically created an agreement where I watch my niece every once in a while, and then my mom watches my daughter. And so it's just kind of like, you know, a family kind of arrangement to take care of the kids. And so I'm using this to kind of track the hours that I'm watching Malia. This is actually up to date, so I only watched her twice so far, but I've got it set up. I made this in a previous video, and I did make it all the way through July, because I think that will be all, and then after that Rose will go into daycare, so I think that should be enough. But if I need to create more, I certainly can do that. And then this section is it says July, but this is the section with her basically her baby log, like when she's sleeping, nursing, and eating. Sleeping, eating, and like when she has like time with like other family members, not me. So basically her sister, her dad, and then obviously my mom, her grandmother. And then so I'm tracking those things, and of course any kind of like diaper changes, things like that. So I've been tracking that. This was for December. And then here's January, and you can see how far behind I am. I haven't even like dated it. I just literally like put a 1 and a slash and then stopped. I don't know. Anyway, I need to go and catch up on this section. I'm doing the full flip through this time around, and I might continue doing that. It just depends on how long these videos are. But this is December 2022. This is a current planner, and so I do the same thing for Rose that I do for Sophia, and that's print out a photo a day. Obviously, I haven't printed out a single photo for December. And then this is the very first spread. I did this as part of basically like transition from pregnancy journal into this memory book, and so this is that. And then this is where I kind of left off. So I did finish this week. Well, these photos are like terrible quality, but anyway, I'm just gonna live with it. I did finish putting down the photos and like big notes, but I wanted to kind of decorate this side because it felt like very uneven. And so this marker, again, it says past. I know you can't see it, but anyway, I have all these photos that I need to like, they're all the photos for like all the rest of the weeks, this week and all the rest of the weeks. But yeah, I started here, but like I want to go with this and just kind of fill it out and complete it, and then I can move this divider to this week and start working on this week. So that's how far behind I am. I'm in December, and so obviously then all of January is in here completely empty, and then I just put in February, and all of February is empty, right? And then in the back I need to like blur this out, but I have a couple of notes. I did want to create a section here with like basically her first month and all the appointments, doctor's appointments that she had, you know, once we left the hospital. Of course, you have all those appointments, and so I wanted to have one more section of like all those doctor's notes. And so there's like private, obviously, doctor's information here, but these are the extras that I wanted to put together for that. And so those notes will eventually live in her memory book. Oh, and I lost my sticker. I don't know where my big post-it note is. Luckily, I have already printed out my new labels for this. I just need to get them on here. I wanted to do this flip through first. So there should be a big label here that says home. But what I have in here are a couple of sections. I did have dividers in here initially, but then I decided to move those out and just kind of have this as be like basically one continuous thing. And it's just a bunch of random notes. Okay, so first one is going to be my budget. I talked about this in a previous video, but I find this really unhelpful to me, honestly. And I did decide, I think what I'm going to do is, instead of having it be this format, what I'm going to do is probably try to find a printable that I can just track our like bills for the house and just mark off when they're paid. And like when they clear the bank account, essentially, because these are all like automated bills. So I'll probably take this information and convert that over to like a monthly bill tracker. And then here is like a receipts holder. I basically put in receipts related to planning. I am a content creator, and I do get taxed for some of that just because I monetize YouTube and I have some other like income streams related to planning, and so I want to be able to kind of like track these in case I need to do any deductions related to that. And so that's the expenses tracker, where I'm just writing down all the planner related stuff. Right, and then I have a couple of the Budget Mom. Like, she has been releasing her savings challenges as free downloads on her Facebook group, and so I did print out the one for January. I haven't done the one for February yet, but these are the first one was like basically setting up for Christmas, so I did start filling that out. And then she also has a newsletter where she sends out like freebies, like a free download every Friday. And so I started printing out some of those. I don't know if this was one of the freebies, but this was a no spend. I didn't actually finish filling it out. So I'll again fill it out and finish filling it out before I archive it. But that was the no spend. This is a birthday budget tracker. And then there are a couple of other ones that I went ahead and printed out, but I didn't fill it out. And so I'll just save it and use it at some other point. And then I do have Christmas notes in here because, again, like for Sophia and for Rose, I'm still trying to like create sections for them. For Sophia, for sure. I'm still debating on Rose. But like, here's some notes from Christmas that I want to try to do something with. And I had a couple of like extra sheets that I wanted to, again, just kind of write, this is random, write some like notes and memories and things like that. I have a pocket folder with some like notes in there. And then this, I won't flip through, but it's our Christmas program. And then a couple of things, like actually just this one packaging thing, which I thought was cute and big enough to like put into a section for Sophia in her Christmas section. So this was her favorite gift. She just carried around this Elsa doll for like a couple of days. All right, and a couple of days is a really long time for a 6-year-old, I think. Anyway, then I have like the Decluttered 365 calendar, and I printed out like all the beginning material, and I can read through it and like just kind of like do all that. If you want a copy of this yourself, you can certainly sign up for the newsletter. I just won't flip through all that. And then it has included in this like package, this printable that she released with her newsletter, the 52-week challenge, which is kind of more what I do, the organized home challenge. But then there's also like the daily like decluttering missions, which I don't do as much, right? It's to me, like my house, I don't really feel like it's cluttered. And so I really want it to be organized, I'm not really focused on the decluttering part of it. I'm more focused on the organizing side of it. So anyway, the yellow are the ones that I've actually completed. I do read through every single day, but I just find them like not that applicable to me. So just as an example, I know it's sideways, but this one says declutter food storage containers, like so all your like Tupperware. I don't actually have that much. And I did that when I moved houses in August of last year. So I did do some of them as you can see with the yellow. So one of them was this one, which is the why for why I want to declutter. And so I did fill that out. And so I did print out some of the things that I could print out and I thought would be useful for me. And I just flipped the pages and saw a bunch of like stuff that is like private information. And so right after this is a bunch of printables, not printables, like things I made copies of. So I did do in a recent video, like all of like just kind of talking about like how important it is to make copies of vital documents. And so these are all my copies of my vital documents. All right, and then I have a section here of like Wild University. I've been trying to like go back and watch some of those videos. I am an annual member and I've missed basically an entire year. And so I'm trying to like catch up and do some of the ones that I find kind of relevant to me. I did print out like all like the cover pages for all of them so that way I can keep track of them. And so this is just an example of one. But yeah, and so that's in here. All right, and then the last little bit of it is like some Girl Scout notes for Sophia. And so I probably need to move that into her section. So that is the home section. Now, for the first time, I'm actually going to close this so you can kind of see how full it is. This is what it looks like. This is with January and February on it, but I did flip through all 5 sections, work, personal, Sophia section, Rose section, and the home section. I didn't show you every single page, but I did flip through all the sections. And now I can take off January. I do have, of course, I've mentioned multiple times that there are some things that I'm still trying to update in January. So I will update those. I'll actually probably pull it off the discs, update it, and then move it into its archive system, which is basically a smaller set, like its own separate planner. Like I just separate all of these sections into their own separate planners, and then I can like have more like less bulk here, like more room to kind of like keep it closed and not carry around like a basic like giant tome. All right, so that is the full flip through of my January. It was a very chatty video, which they always are, I think, but I hope you enjoyed this flip through. Hopefully you can see how it's been working out for me. I would say it is working out quite well for me, and I've really been enjoying it, so I'm going to move permanently into this system. Not a guarantee that I'll stick with it for all of 2023, but it will be for at least the next couple of months that I'll be using this transformer system. So again, if you enjoyed this video, please let me know by giving me a like. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel, and until the next video, bye guys.